My fiancé hasn't been too fond of my best friend after she got us into a car accident when she was drunk driving without me knowing, but after 2 years of basically no contact between them, she dropped a bomb that my husband confessed his love for her. So I've, 27F, been with my fiancé, 28M, since I was 17, 10 years together. And I've been best friends with my friend, 27F, since we were 8. Generally they have gotten on fine throughout that time, until a few years ago when my friend picked me up after a few drinks one night. I hadn't known she was buzzed, and we got in a wreck. We were both fine, but he thinks she's irresponsible, so he's been just very formal polite to her since then. When she comes to visit me, he goes into the other room to play video games or something. Anyways, about 2 weeks ago she texted me and asked me to get lunch with her. Places are open in our area. I met up for her, and she tells me that my fiancé told her that he had feelings for her, and wanted them to be together, but she told him no. I was obviously upset, and asked when this happened, where, did he message her, can I see the message, etc. She immediately got really angry with me, accusing me of not believing her when we've been friends so long. I asked that she at least tell me where/when this happened, even if there is no proof. And she refused, saying if after all this time of friendship I won't believe her, then I'm better off being with a dirty cheater, and stormed off before the food even got to the table. I went home to talk to my fiancé about it, really upset of course. He seemed genuinely confused about the accusation, from what I could tell, and asked when she is saying this happened since he's very rarely around her. The only time he ever sees her is if he walks through the living room to get food from the kitchen before going back to his office. And he's never been in the house with her alone. I admitted she wouldn't tell me because she thinks I should just believe her. Brought up that he could have messaged her it, and he immediately handed me his phone and told me to, if looking through it would help, to go ahead. I went through the whole thing and honestly nothing. They're not even friends on any social media. He doesn't have any weird extra texting apps, no contacts that are weird in his phone. He does have her number in his phone, but there's no messages to her or any calls to or from her. He's also been working from home. I do all our shopping/running around, so only one of us has to go out. He has asthma, so he's really not gone out much the last year. We have security cameras at our place, so her dropping by without the system giving my phone an alert that there was a person is unlikely. So unless he texted her and immediately deleted it, so she'd have proof, I'd assume, he happened to run into her the 1 or 2 times he's been out in the last year, or he raced out of his office to proclaim his love to her while I was in the bathroom. I have no clue where this could have happened. So I'm inclined to believe him, seeing as we've been together for 10 years, I can't think of when this happened, and she won't tell me anything else. Our mutual friends are divided, some saying it's suspect she won't tell me anything, but others saying as her best friend I should believe her because there's no reason for her to lie, whereas my fiancé would have a reason to if he did it. I don't know what to believe at this point. My friend is still completely shut down on me. I called her trying to talk about it, but she told me not to contact her again unless I believe her, and hung up on me. My fiancé has been completely open about everything. Part of me is wondering if she's lying because she knows he doesn't like her from what happened a few years ago and is trying to break us up. Then part of me is wondering if he really did text her that and she is telling the truth and being so difficult for no apparent reason. Any advice on how to handle this? Commenter 1. It really does sound like your friend made it up. It's obvious that in a situation like that, when she told you, would have been shocked and wanted more information, and if she was telling the truth she would have done all she could to absolutely make you certain about it, cause a fiancé cheating, obviously, is a big deal. Also, what makes the story so improbable is that if he doesn't even like her character, they don't talk nor do they have a good friendship. At most he could have wanted to have sex with her, not told her he had feeling for her. Like what? When a boyfriend cheats, usually it's because of physical attraction that maybe if the cheating continues can develop into feelings, but I've only ever heard about a few specific cases like this, but it was when a guy confessed to her freaking beast friends of 10 years rather than some bitch who got my girlfriend in an accident. OP, yeah, like honestly, if it happened prior to the accident, I think I would have been more likely to believe her, since we all hung out together, and they both said good things about each other. Since the accident, he's made it clear to me he didn't want to even be around her, but tolerated her because I care about her. But part of me started questioning if he was only saying all that as some cover because he has had feelings, but that feels like I'm just overthinking at this point. Commenter 2. Just my thoughts on this, but if she was telling you the truth, she'd easily give you details. The fact she just got angry right away and insisted you should believe her after her giving you news that would have been a total shock to you is insane. To me it sounds like she decided to lie, and when you went to question her, she panicked and got mad. If I had to lay a bet, she isn't giving details because it never happened. She probably knows he doesn't leave the house. You'd know if she was there. Texting would leave evidence, which she doesn't have, and she hasn't been in the house or room alone with him for longer than 40 seconds. OP, honestly, that makes the most sense of this mess. I don't know why she would lie really, whether it's she had feelings for him I never knew about or is just mad at him for being mad at her. But I guess the reason why doesn't matter and how I should handle this. Op explains more about the car accident incident that caused the rift between her fiancé and her best friend. We'd planned that she'd pick me up and I'd spend the night at her place since we wanted to have a movie night / have a few drinks, and my fiancé and I only had the one car at the time. She showed up to pick me up, and I got in the car not knowing she'd already had a couple drinks before getting there. On the way back to her place she suddenly veered off the road and smashed into a tree. Neither of us were badly hurt luckily, but her car was totaled. People whose yard it was called the police, and some cars stopped to check on us. She was arrested for driving intoxicated, and the ambulance that showed up took me to the hospital to look over since I did have some cuts and the airbags had went off. So my fiancé had to come pick me up from the hospital in the middle of the night. And since then he's made it clear he doesn't want to be around her, thinks she's irresponsible and only tolerates her because I forgave her. He says he can't forgive her because she could have killed us both. She thinks he doesn't understand that people make mistakes, and that it isn't fair to blame her for the whole thing since the road was slippery, and in the end we were fine. Update. Well, I woke up the morning after the post and hadn't expected that many responses. I sat and read them all, and it was pretty unanimous that she was lying for some reason, and if she wasn't lying she was being a crap friend for how she went about this. Some comments also really made me realize how much shit my fiancé has had to go through because of her presence in my life. So I woke him up and told him I believed him and apologized for letting this drag on like I did. I took the advice of someone and made a group chat minus the now ex-best friend, and sent them the post and just asked that they read it. Most of them sort of waffled until one said had she not known either of us, it would be obvious who was lying, and they all agreed it was too suspect. One of them called me shortly after, asking me to meet up with her to talk, so I did. She is the one closest to ex-best friend other than myself. She basically told me ex-best friend has been complaining about my fiancé for like half a year to her. About how he's still mad, how he must be making me spend less time with her, that I'm going to marry someone that is actively trying to tear us apart as friends. She was able to show me some texts where ex-best friend was saying those sorts of things, and one of her in her maid of honor dress with a text saying my dress for the funeral of our friendship. Then leading up to now, where a friend was asking her if it was true, and she was snapping at her too through text to stop questioning her, and it doesn't matter if she is lying anyway. Friend said she hadn't reached out to me prior because she thought after the wedding ex-best friend would realize it wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be. Then when all this happened she didn't think that texts were proof enough to show me and nuke our relationship. But the post made her feel bad for not showing me them, so she gave me some of the screenshots, and I went to ex-best friend's apartment myself to talk to her. She let me in, and I asked her if she had anything to tell me before we went any further. She doubled down that she refuses to give me details, repeating the same stuff. So I told her I knew she was lying and had proof she was. Showed her the screenshots I had, which she accused other friend of photoshopping to make her look bad. Once I told her I read them in person off of friend's phone, she started going on about how everyone is trying to tear up our friendship after the accident, and how it isn't fair on her. I told her maybe if she'd apologized and tried to make changes in her life instead of insisting for years it's not her fault and then coming up with this lie, maybe none of that would have happened. Told her that even had she been telling the truth, the way she chose to tell me and make this some trash loyalty test instead of her telling me some of the most devastating news of my life, shows she isn't a good friend to me. I forgave the accident because I cared for her and took it as a mistake, but obviously that care doesn't go both ways. Told her not to contact me again, and that I told friend group of everything going on, sent them the screenshots, and they can make their own decisions on who they do and don't want to spend time with based on the information they have. But I won't be seeing her again, I will be blocking her on everything, and do not attempt to fix this because it's unforgivable. I still feel mentally and emotionally drained from all this, but there's also a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. As for the wedding, instead of choosing another friend in this group, I asked my fiancé's little sister to be my maid of honor, and she's very excited. Fiancé is also relieved he doesn't have to deal with ex-best friend anymore, and says he's just happy it's all settled. As for the rest of my friends, the one that showed me the texts, I'm not going to stay in contact with her either since she hid all this and only showed me out of guilt. The others I guess I'll see how it goes. Edit, about the friend who told me, maybe in time I can move past it, but right now I can't really look at her. It's not just that she didn't tell me right away. I just feel uncomfortable. I would spend time with the two of them a lot, and to know there was conversations about my fiancé, the wedding, the relationship, and our friendship going between them like that just. Yeah. The maid of honor dress photo, I'm literally next to her in the picture. She knew BF had these feelings so strongly, was my maid of honor, and essentially hated my partner at this point. Then when BF told the whole friend group this situation and they all came at me about not believing her and having to explain my side, and only half of them listened to me. She was one of the ones that said I should listen to BF. When she knew all the stuff she'd been saying, and essentially confessing to her that it was a lie. She didn't do anything herself, but she watched it all happen until she felt too guilty. And right now, that just hurts, and I'm not sure I want her in my life. Commenter 2. What did ex-bestie say when confronted with the irrefutable truth? Did she admit to lying or try to continue the charade? OP. She admitted it once I told her I saw the messages on other friends' phone directly, and tried to blame the reason for her doing it on people trying to wreck our friendship. Commenter 3. Think about how difficult it must be to be the friend that showed you. I mean, it happens often that doing the right thing can backfire, and it's a tough decision to make to end a friendship.